Hello, kindergartners. Hello, second grade. Can you all hear me? Awesome. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I can kind of see you. I don't see second graders. There you are. How is everyone? I miss you all. So I'm going to talk about my chickens and my longhorns today. Mrs. Zer had asked me if I would talk about that. Have you guys been learning a lot about farming and ranching and ag this week? Give me a thumbs up. I can kind of see you. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys have learned a lot because the ag industry is very important. It's how we get so much of our food from farming and meat from cattle. So from cattle and chickens. How many of you like chicken? How many of you like eggs? Who eats eggs for breakfast? So that is one thing that we raise on our farm is chickens for the eggs. Right now, we don't raise the chicken for the meat. We just have chickens because they lay eggs. So how many of you know where I live, where Brooklyn or Luke or Lexi live? We live just east of Tribune. How many of you have been to Leota before? Has anybody ever been to Leota or Garden City? So you probably have went by our farm on Highway 96, just east of Tribune. We have 60 acres. And right now, 50 of our acres is planted into wheat. And that's where our longhorns graze in the winter. So how many of you have seen cattle with big long horns? Raise your hand. Some of you have. So I'm going to show you some big longhorns. We're not going to be able to go out and see my longhorns because they're out in the pasture. But if we have time, I might be able to take you out to my chicken coop. But I do have some longhorns here that have been mounted. So those are pretty cool, huh? These actually are black. They have been mounted. Some people, I won't let my husband put them, but some people put them on the front of their cars. Wouldn't that look kind of silly? Some people, these were for my husband just to put on the wall because the longhorns are really Scott's. I can't claim that they're mine. We have two longhorns. They're both girls, females, and they have each had a baby. So before they have a baby, they're called heifers, but they've had a baby now. So we have two cows and they had two babies. One of the babies got really sick this past fall and it actually passed away. That was really sad, but that's one thing that's part of raising animals is sometimes things happen and we have to deal with that. But we treated it with medicine and did everything we can, but it just didn't make it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my chickens. How many of you have ever seen chickens in person before? Okay, quite a few in second grade. I see some hands in kindergarten. So a lot of you have actually seen chickens. That's awesome. Some of you probably seen some of my chickens at maybe I guess we didn't have the petting zoo last year, but maybe the year before. We might have saw a chicken at school. I know some of how many of you have seen the chickens that used to be behind the ag shop? Did any of you ever go over there and see the chickens? Yeah, the FFA raised some chickens. That's actually where my first chickens came from. Some of the high school kids got them and raised them from tiny babies. And I ended up getting 4 of them to start our chicken farm. Now I have a lot, like too many to count most days. But our chickens, they get to free range out on grass, mostly in the spring and summertime when the grass is greener. They love to eat bugs. How many of you would like to eat a bug? Probably not, but that's what chickens like. And it's kind of nice because I don't like bugs bothering me. And in the summertime, the flies are bad and the mosquitoes, and the chickens help to keep those away. So part of our job on our farm is, along with my husband, Scott, and our kids, we got Luke, Lexi, Brooklyn, and Briella. We care for our animals by feeding and watering them every day. How many of you have a pet at home that you have to feed and water every day? Yeah, a lot of you. Just like taking care of a dog or cat, they require food and water every single day to keep them healthy, keep them alive. And for the chickens, they require that in order to lay eggs. Luke and Brooklyn have show cattle. Actually, they got one of them from Mrs. Hanson. Luke's steers from Mrs. Hanson. So they feed their show cattle along with our longhorns twice a day, in the morning and at night. So they have to wake up earlier than some kids, probably, because they have to go out and do their chores. In the wintertime, like last week when it was really, really, really cold, we have to break the ice on the water tank. Mrs. Hanson probably did a lot of that last week in taking care of her babies. And one thing about cattle, they actually drink even more when it's really cold. So sometimes when I'm cold and maybe like you don't feel like drinking, but cattle and chickens, it's really important that they have fresh water because they're going to drink even more. So that's what Luke and Brooklyn do. They mostly take care of the cattle along with Scott and I. We help them, of course. And then Lexi and Briella, they help me in gathering the eggs every day. So usually I try to gather the eggs in the morning because they lay most of their eggs in the morning. And then I go out again in the afternoon. We raise our eggs to eat ourselves. And then also some people in town will buy our eggs from us. So something that kind of makes our farm different is not every farm, especially around Tribune and around the Kansas area, have chickens or longhorn cattle. You'll see a lot of cattle. They're usually Angus beef cattle, but our farm's unique because of the couple longhorns that we have. So if you drive to Leota, be looking outside the window because you might happen to see our longhorns. My favorite part of my farm is, especially when it's a little bit warmer outside, it's just spending time with the chickens. So we got just a little bit of time. I'm gonna grab my phone and we're gonna run out to the coop real quick and we're gonna go gather eggs because there might be a few more. While we're doing this, do you guys have any questions for me while I run outside? It's gonna be a little breezy, but go ahead if your teachers wanna unmute you. And if you have any questions for me, I'll try to answer them while we're going out there.
Megan. Are the longhorns real?
Yes, they're real. The ones that I had in the house, they're real from a longhorn that had passed away. And so they mounted the longhorns, but ours are real and alive outside. What other questions do you guys have?
Sarah? My dad had a longhorn that had it on his foot.
Can you repeat what he said?
He said he has a longhorn on his dad's truck.
Okay, so see, I said some people put them on there, some people put them on there. So it's gonna get a little loud because I'm getting ready to walk into the chicken run. So if you look here, this is where my chickens are right now. They're in the pen. So they have a big long run, and I'll turn around the camera if I can, once I get in here so you can see them. So you see my chickens? Oh, they're escaping. So they have a water pan, and this has a heater underneath it. So it keeps the water from freezing. And then when we go in here, we'll gather the eggs. Let me see if I can flip my camera. Okay. So right down here, it looks like they've got a few eggs in there. There's a chicken. So I just reach in, I have a basket, and I just put them in the basket. And they're a little bit dirty, but not too bad. So I just wash them off with some water and put them in an egg carton. Oh, they buried some of them. Oh, they were trying to make me go on an Easter egg hunt, it looks like today. They've buried them. Do you guys hear my chickens? They're kind of noisy. Okay, it looks like that is all because I did already gather this morning, but so you guys can see. And this is where they roost at night. And sometimes during the day, they all come in here to sleep. See ya? Do you guys have any questions about my chickens?
Ernie, go ahead.
Why does the chickens lay blue eggs?
Can you hear that, Mrs. Clevenger?
Where do they lay their eggs?
No, why do they have blue eggs?
Okay, that is a great question. So I'm going to show you a couple chickens that are a little bit different than the rest. This one right here is, well, kind of a nickname for it is called an Easter egger, but they're an Americana. It's just a different type of breed of chicken, and they lay blue eggs. These two lay brown eggs. This one lays like a cream colored egg. So different breeds of chickens lay different colors of eggs. That's a great question. Yes, you did see a blue egg, didn't you? So they don't lay quite as many eggs as these brown reddish chickens. Great question. Any other questions?
Do you have another farm? Do you have another farm?
Do I have another farm?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
No, just this one farm. I do have a couple other coop areas, but right now all my chickens are in here. And then my farm is like lots of grass and lots of area around where I'm at. Any other questions?
Really loud.
I have chickens, and one of my chickens laid a brown egg with dots, and
Yes.
dots are dirty. And when you get it wet, the dots come off.
Yes,
They come back.
that's right. And do you know what those dots are? Is that Adelie?
No,
Nope. Say no.
Nope.
no.
So the dots are called calcium. So just like when you drink lots of milk, you get calcium, but you're not going to get spots. Keep drinking your milk. But chickens sometimes when they have too much calcium, it's okay and there's nothing wrong with it, but you can see it on the eggs. It just shows more on the eggs, but they do need lots of calcium. They don't get it in they don't get milk though. They just get it in their chicken feed. And that helps the eggs be strong and the shells not break and crack, not be soft. We want them to be hard eggs. When you crack them, it's kind of hard, a little bit hard to crack. I'm going to show you guys their feeders. So we fill these up every day, usually only every other day because it stays pretty full. It's a 30-pound feeder, and I actually got these from Mrs. Hanson's brother-in-law and sister. So I just pour their feed down in there. And then they also get, let me see, I'll show you a trailer over here. They also get Milo. It's a grain because they love to just scratch around. Some of the chickens are out. They love to just scratch around and be able to, let me show it to you here. So like, I'll just take this and throw it over, and they just like to come and scratch and eat it off the ground. They've already had quite a bit today though, so they might not be real hungry. But if you can see, they come in here. So this right here is called the run, and it's surrounded with hard chicken wire, so no predators get in. And it also has a net over top, so no like mean birds come in, or like owls or hawks or anything like that, because sometimes something could happen to the chicken. But thankfully I've never had to deal with that. I've never lost a chicken to a predator. So those two got out. But one thing about chickens is they always find their way back to their coop at night on their own. All right, I think we got the 5-minute warning. I'm gonna head back towards the house and be able to wash the eggs later today. Do you guys have any more questions for me?
Kaden, go ahead.
Why don't people have
Okay.
We'll come back. Jose,
had a blue egg before?
Had a blue egg before?
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. It doesn't taste any different than a white or a brown egg. Just kind of neat to see.
Question.
Do you have any other animals?
I do. I have a dog. I have cats. We'll have goats in the spring that my kids show in 4-H. Like I said earlier, we have two cattle, a Charolais heifer that we got from Miss Josie, and an Angus steer that we got from Mrs. Hanson and her family.
Do you remember, Kaden? No. Okay.
Kindergartners, are there someone with a question?
Brantley James, go ahead.
I didn't get to see one of the blue eggs.
Oh, he wants to see if he can see one of the blue eggs.
Yeah, let me get it out of here real quick. Try not to break it. They're gonna roll off the table. Here we go. There it is. Look, it's like I dyed it for Easter. That's pretty cool, huh? That's just how the chicken lays it.
Chicken, Mason dog, they got Mason chicken killed.
Oh,
Yeah, yes, they do. Yep, Mason has some chickens, huh?
But didn't ate them. Had baby chicken. No.
Yes.
I don't
Yep.
want
All of my chickens I got when they were babies. So they were all about this big and now they're big. All right, maybe time for one more question before we get switched over.
okay, Journey, you have a question, Journey? Journey, what's your question?
How do you wash the eggs off?
That's a good question. How I wash them is I just run some water. See, there's just a little bit of dirt, maybe poop. Chickens poop a lot. I just wash some water off with a rag. I don't use any soap because people are going to eat these. I just rinse them off, dry them off, and put them in the egg carton like you would get at the store. That's a great question. All right. Does she just put us back in the rooms when it's time? We might have a question.
Yesterday I did a countdown on the screen.
Okay.
I think it'll show it. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, we have time.
Jensen?
I've seen one of your chickens in real life.
Yes, you have. Yep.
Francis, your question?
Do you have the snakes?
I don't have any snakes for pets, but in the summertime, it's kind of typical that sometimes there's snakes on farms. Yeah, but no snakes for pets here.
Say.
Can we see the goats?
I don't have any goats right now. So the way with our goats, they'll be my kids' 4-H animals, and they are babies with their moms right now. And then once they're weaned and don't need milk from their moms anymore, probably next month in March, our kids will get a few goats, and then they'll take care of them and they'll show them at the fair in August. So we don't have them right now. They're still on the farm with their moms.
Let's let kindergarten ask.
Mason has a question.
Where did you get the other chickens from?
Well, I've ordered them from hatcheries. And there's also a lady in Sheridan Lake, just over in Colorado, that she gets a lot of baby chicks. And then right before they start laying, they usually start laying about 6 months old is when they start laying their eggs. So usually about when they're 4 or 5 months old, I have got some of them from her over there. So one thing about baby chicks is they're kind of hard to take care of. And so sometimes it's easier to get them when they're a little bit older. Looks like we got about a minute left, maybe time for one more quick question. Well, thank you guys for letting me talk about my chickens and longhorns. I hope you learned something today.
Do you sell the chickens? They're asking.
I don't sell my chickens. Nope.
She sells the eggs.
I sell the eggs. My chickens stay on my farm.
Tell her. What do you guys tell her?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, now you can sit. Ready? Go.
Thank you.
Sit down. Listen.
Her main one was wait.
Great, everyone. I think everyone's back. Almost. Great. I want to thank all of our speakers for coming in. We appreciate you taking this time out of your busy day. Can all of our classes give them a round of applause? Great. We really appreciate you guys coming to help us out today. No, it's a little bit of a different year, but we really appreciate you helping us out and helping us learn a little bit more about agriculture that's not really common here in Tribune. This is the last day of FFA week for us, but we want to just be able to ask you guys questions later on. FFA members are in the room too that they can ask later. So if you didn't get to ask all your questions today, teachers, I will be sending out email addresses and I'm posting these videos later so you can watch the other videos. But we want to thank you three for coming in. Kieran and Peyton, thanks for helping with the video in there. We really appreciate that. But with that, we're going to end so you guys can go celebrate the 100th day of school. I hear it is in the elementary, right? And yep. And next week is Dr. Seuss week, so we got to get prepared for that, right? Yeah. So we want to thank you guys. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. See you guys.
Oh my gosh, Bye.
Not yet.